Okay, good morning. My name is James Dixon. I am the Associate Director for the Center for Rural Development here at the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, Go Utah. We welcome you to our webinar this morning and we appreciate your attendance. Our goal today is to share information that will be beneficial to those involved in rural programs through Go Utah and the Center for Rural Development. I'd like to share my screen, give you a presentation here. This is what our agenda will be like today. I will take about 10 minutes in explaining the compliance element of the annual reporting requirements for the Rural County Grant Part A for the fiscal year 2022. I will attempt to explain why we have this annual report and also help you get access to the reporting portal. After my section of presentation, we'll turn the time over to Eden Johnson. Eden will take 10 to 15 minutes and address the 2022 legislative session, in particular the HB 333 and the new Rural Opportunity Program. She will be able to explain the grants and financing opportunities that will be a part of our new program. After Eden, we will hear from Daniel Royal. He'll take 15 minutes plus and probably some Q&A over the Rural Economic Development Tax Increment Financing Program, the REDTIF program, and HB 35, the new emphasis on rural business and economic development. Our desire is to keep this webinar to 45 minutes. Maybe we will take a few extra if we need to, but we want to keep it moving along. Because we have a large audience and limited time to make these presentations, we request that you enter your questions in the chat box along with your email address. We will address each of your questions via email by the end of this week. Microphones will remain muted during the presentation by myself and of presentations that I give and that Eden give. When we get to Daniel, he'll offer his presentation and we'll likely take open mic questions after that with regard to his subject matter, the REDTIF program. The webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our website, business.utah.gov/rural, along with the other material that we will present today, various PowerPoints and access portal links, and etc. So I will proceed now to give a quick explanation of accessing the Go Utah portal for your annual reporting that is required from the Rural County Grant Part A fiscal year 2022. We will publish this address, this link here, to the website so that you can go directly to the website and access it. This PowerPoint will also be accessible on the website, so for step-by-step instruction. Second step, after you've entered into the portal, you'll see a field such as this, the portal home, and you'll see three buttons: the apply button, the update button, and review button. We'd like for you to ignore the apply button and the review button in this case and go directly to the update button. You will also likely have a few tabs across the top, one of which says My Applications. That's an alternative way to enter into the same portal. So if you see My Applications, you can click it or just hit the update button. Step 3 is for you to locate your original fiscal year 2022 application that has status approved. You'll see that circled there. You can see in this example, it has been funded, it was approved, and the application number is over to the left-hand side. When you get to this area, you will click on that original application. In this case, you can see that my application number is 046713. I would click through that and enter into the next page. What you'll see there is an application ID number for the report itself. So this will be the Rural County Grant Program Part A Fiscal Year 2022 Part A report. I've got that circled there. What you'll want to do is go over to this green pencil edit button. If you hit that button, you'll be into the report itself and be able to begin your report sequence. You will see that there's a new report button up here. You can hit that. It'll direct you through the report application, and then you can choose to edit. But the easiest way is to just locate that application ID number and hit the green button. Once you're into the report, you'll see something like this. Several boxes, actually 7 boxes. You can see that this first box is an overview with an explanation that you will be able to apply for the Rural County Grant Fiscal Year 2023 after this report is submitted and has been approved. Then you'll go to next. Anytime you hit next, it automatically saves whatever answers that you have put into the question fields, and then you can move through this process smoothly. You can see that there's a second section there, and it's recipient information, general information, then funding distribution. When you complete the questions within each of these fields, just hit next, and it'll move you through to the number 7 step, which is a submit button. And when you get there, you will want to make sure that you've answered all the questions. If you have red X's, I've got that circled over here on the left. If you see red X's, that means that that field or that question was not answered, and you'll need to go back and answer the question. When you see green check marks next to each of these fields, then you will be able to submit your report. So if you hit the submit report button and it kicks you back and says you can't do that yet, that means you need to go back and check to see if you don't have any red X's. Once you have the green check marks, then you can go ahead and submit your report. Our annual reporting is due no later than September 1. However, the portal is open now. The steps that we would like for you to take, first of all, of course, is to open this annual report. This will help you to meet compliance standards and requirements. Remember that your community economic development advisory boards need to be involved in creating this report. That's one of their duties and responsibilities. If you miss this deadline of September 1 and you don't file a fiscal year 22 annual report, you will not be eligible to have a rural county grant for fiscal year 2023. This is very, very critical and important. This should be simple enough. We're giving you plenty of time in advance by opening the portal now. The actual funding for the rural county grant fiscal 2023 will be available to you by July 1. So the sooner your report is in, the sooner you can access the application for the next year and get your funding. The later you are, of course, that delays you receiving that funding. If you're going to wait till September 1 to file your annual report, you probably will likely not be able to see funding until late fall. So we encourage you to enter your portal right now, begin your annual report, then we can approve that, give you access to the new application for the new fiscal year, and get your money as soon as possible.
James, may I add one thing, please?
Yes, Ryan, please.
I just want to emphasize that the annual report is a very simple document. We're not asking you to bend over backwards for some cumbersome report. This is just a simple report, unlike maybe reports we've seen from previous programs in the past, like BEAR. So we just want a snapshot of how your year went. So don't stress that this is going to take a month. It really doesn't take that long. So get them done.
Yes, thank you so much, Ryan. We appreciate that. If you have any questions with regard to the annual report, please contact me via email. I will be happy to help you. I will be happy to, even over the phone, walk you through the process in accessing this portal. Also, with regard to any of this presentation today, we are accessible. We are willing to help in any way. One thing that you might find, or some of you might find challenges with, is that this portal is connected to those who actually put in the original application. So that means that if you have somebody in your county that was responsible and was the primary contact, they have access. Now, if that person has changed, moved on, moved to a different assignment, or whatever the case may be, then we need to give the new person who will be the primary and secondary contacts access to this portal. So if there is changes, please contact me directly via email so that we can make those changes in our Salesforce system. We will be happy to answer any questions in the chat by the end of the week. Thank you so much, and we'll turn the time over to Eden for her presentation.
Good morning. Can you all see that presentation?
It's not in presentation mode yet. Now it is.
Thank you. Well, good morning. We appreciate the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you today, and I have been asked to briefly share a recap from the 2022 legislative session, specifically sharing some information on changes and updates from the Center for Rural Development. Most of you are likely very familiar with the current programs we have been offering through the Center for Rural Development, the Rural County Grant Programs, Part A and Part B. Those were previously available direct to rural counties. Enterprise Zone Tax Credits, Targeted Business Tax Credit, Rural Economic Development Incentive, Rural Co-working and Innovation Center Grants, the Utah Main Street Program, in addition to the Utah Rural Jobs Act, and the Rural Economic Development Tax Increment Finance Programs. So moving forward, House Bill 333, also known as the Big Bill, creates several new opportunities. The Rural Opportunity Program, which consolidates several previous rural programs. It establishes the Rural Opportunity Fund and creates the Rural Opportunity Advisory Committee. And the committee will be instrumental in helping to vet and with program development and design. And so we are looking forward to their support. The Rural Opportunity Program is a program under new design. You'll see some similarities to previous programs we've had as well. So it does contain the Rural County Grant Program, which was formerly known as Part A. You can see there is a $4.8 million funding allocation, and this is direct to rural counties of the 3rd through 6th class. The application will open July 1 for opportunities of up to $200,000 for economic opportunities related to business retention, recruitment, development and expansion, workforce training and development, and infrastructure and capital facilities improvements for business development. And as James mentioned, it's very important that you have your previous reporting submitted and approved before the application will be open again and counties will be eligible for additional funding. The Rural Communities Opportunity Grant was formerly known as Part B. There is a funding allocation of $3.9 million, and this includes funding that was rolled from the Rural Co-working and Innovation Center funding source. This opportunity will open early fall, likely October. We want to allow ample time for preparing applications and projects. And the opportunities will be available for up to $600,000 in funding. And we are considering 2 application cycles. This portion of the grant is on a competitive basis, and matching funds will be required depending on the size of the community applying. For this grant opportunity, we encourage you to show how your projects fit as part of your overall economic development plan to demonstrate cooperation and leveraging of planning resources. And some priority funding may be available for rural co-working and innovation center projects in fiscal year 2023. Now that may change going forward in the future. Something that is new as part of the RCOG is that is now also available to counties, again, rural counties and communities, including communities of 10,000 or less in counties of the second class. That is something that has been expanded with this legislative session. The Rural Economic Development Incentive, or READY program, has a slight change, name change to the Rural Employment Development Incentive. It will remain the READY grant. It is a standalone program designed for businesses who are creating high-paying jobs in rural communities. We will continue with the 1.5 million funding allocation. And there are a few counties that will now be eligible for businesses in those counties to apply, which were not previously open to applications. So those rural counties, again, class 3 through 6, it will also be open to Cache, Tooele, and Summit counties, and communities in counties of the second class with a population of 10,000 or less. So that includes Weber, Davis, Utah, and Washington counties. This is again a direct grant to businesses creating high-paying jobs at least 110% of the county average wage. A business may receive up to $6,000 for each new position created and up to $250,000 per fiscal year. This READY program can be accessed with other Go Utah grants and resources. And again, we mentioned new counties are available, and smaller communities in counties of the second class are also now eligible to apply. These changes are going through our application currently, and by the end of July, we'll have our application updated, possibly sooner, but watch for the marketing materials and everything to be updated on our website in the coming month to accommodate all these new changes that are being designed. Our Rural Communities Opportunity Loan is also a new program under design. It will be available specifically for communities that may have fewer resources. You can see $21 million has been allocated to this low interest revolving loan fund. It is again available to rural counties and communities, including those with 10,000 population or less in counties of the second class. For this program, we encourage communities to assess their needs and to make every effort to find other funding sources to seek through perhaps rural county grant or rural community opportunity grant funding sources, other federal sources such as IIJA and other federal opportunities, and also to work closely with your association of governments for community development block grant funding opportunities and CIB community impact board funding opportunities if those are available. Prioritization will be given for, again, smaller communities, those with fewer and more limited resources. Other changes affecting rural, we have a few programs that are being transferred. We mentioned our Rural Co-working and Innovation Center grant will be moved under the Rural Communities Opportunity Grant, and our Utah Main Street program will be moving to the Department of Cultural and Community Engagement. We are a little bit sad to see this program being transferred. Nan Anderson did an amazing job of designing and implementing this program, and we are excited about the potential that it has. And we know that it will be in good hands under management now with the Department of Cultural and Community Engagement. And we are very excited that Nan will be remaining as part of our team at the CRD. A few programs that are being repealed and sunsetted: the Rural Rapid Manufacturing Grant, the Rural Speculative Industrial Program, the Targeted Business Tax Credit, the TBTC programs that are under existing contract will be honored through 2023, and Enterprise Zone Tax Credit will continue through 2024. There is a listing on our website of all the existing enterprise zone current designations and contacts by county. That's available at business.utah.gov/rural if you have any questions on if communities in your counties are designated as current enterprise zones. And again, those will continue through 2024. The Rural Jobs Act through House Bill 25 authorizes additional non-refundable tax credits for investments in eligible small businesses located in specific communities. And our Red TIF program through House Bill 35 does have some economic development modifications, and it will provide more opportunities for support in our rural counties and communities. And Daniel Royal will provide more information on that. The last thing that I want to mention is the new contract services opportunity through Logistics Specialties Incorporated. LSI is a very experienced contract service that can help communities identify federal grant opportunities. They can assist with pre-proposal, grant development, and even some post-award activities. This is a special contract that is available to rural communities through the Center for Rural Development. So if you are interested in seeing if this opportunity might be available to you, please contact one of our CRD specialists. And our contact information is here. And again, our website is business.utah.gov/rural. That opportunity for contract services with LSI is open now. And again, that is for counties or communities in rural areas that have specific needs that cannot be met through other funding sources.
Eden, may I also say something here, please?
Please.
So just to also emphasize, so LSI is a private company based out of Layton, and we had a contract with them for 5 years where they were doing some work within our procurement space, but we decided to shift part of that contract to grant writing services because as we visited with rural counties, many will say, we really need access to this source of funding. We need technical expertise in grant writing. And so what we're trying to do is provide a service on a case-by-case basis. So this is not open to businesses. This is only open to municipalities that need a specific grant. And what LSI does is work closely with that community to identify and help write the grant. And there's no guarantee, just as kind of a disclaimer, that that community will necessarily receive a grant, but they can receive grant assistance. With 29 counties, 25 of which are rural, we're really saying that we need to be choosy in terms of who can use this. And so you need to just contact one of us if there's a very specific need and you've exhausted all other resources. The other thing that I just wanted to say is I see Representative Albrecht with us. He was a champion this legislative session for helping us to push some of these programs through. And so it may not appear like it, but our goal from the beginning has been to simplify the programs. And I know that Eden just kind of articulated the new names, but if you think about it, we have Part A, Part B, this revolving loan fund, we have READY, and then the Red TIF. So we're trying to take maybe 10 or 12 programs and consolidate it to 5 or 6. And then we're flipping the model too. So those of you who have been in the economic development space for a while will know that it used to be that the state would have these programs and the counties would have to adapt their needs to fit our programs. And now we're trying to reverse the narrative so that we say, what are your opportunities and how can the state help you? Is it with grant writing? Is it with Part B funding for your projects? Whatever it may be. So just know that we're here as a resource to help you. We're not going to tell you what to do, but we just want to be great partners and appreciate your support.
Thank you. We'll now turn the time to Daniel Royal to talk about the EdTIF program, and then we'll wrap up with James Dixon at the end.
Hey, thanks a lot, Eden. Thanks, James and Ryan. Happy to be here with you guys. My name is Daniel Royal with the corporate recruitment team here at Go Utah, Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, where we administer and manage the RETIF program. The R, of course, standing for rural, and then economic development tax increment financing is the rest of that mouthful of a title of an incentives program. And so wanted to run down a few changes that we've had recently, not just this past legislative session, but also the previous one that really affected how we do and operate and do deals in rural Utah. So I will share my screen and we can get going with that. Cool. All right, so here I've got our corporate recruitment team. Ben Hart, who is the deputy director of Go Utah, who I report to. There's me, Larry Shepard. I'm sure many of you know Larry. Larry is great. He does a lot of stuff in the office. We'd be lost without him. In fact, when he's gone on vacation, things almost fall apart in the office. And so we're very glad to have him come back because things seem to run better when he's around. And then Abby Hunsaker. I don't know if Abby's on the line. She might be, but she assists me when it comes to the whole process of the EdTIF and going through the application and things like that. So that's our team. If you have any questions about anything related to the EdTIF, related to the REDTIF, please be sure to give us a call. Please email or whatnot, and we can get you the answers that you're looking for. All right, so results so far. So talking about fiscal year 22, and we're in the last quarter of fiscal year 2022. So we've had 11 projects so far, and patting ourselves on the back a little bit, and pat yourselves on the back a little bit. That's more than we've done in the past 3.5 years in rural Utah. And the numbers are just, since the changes that we've had to have those REDTIF modifications, things have exploded in rural Utah, and we're very happy to see the things going on there. That includes 2 in Juliac County. I thought I saw Brent on the line. So we had 2 there, Owens Corning and Barnes Bullets. We have 3 in Cache County, Sativa, Campbell Scientific, Maloof. Yes, we're the 3. We've had 3 in Tooele. I think I see Mayor Nguyen on. I live in Tooele, and Abby lives in Tooele. We're not partial to Tooele, but it's nice to see that we've got a bunch going on there. And then also 1 in Iron County, Box Elder County, and Washington County, and the city in Washington County being Laverkin with the REDTIF modifications. Of course, Washington is a second-class county, but Laverkin is a municipality with less than 10,000 people, so they're able to qualify for REDTIF modifications. We actually had another one in Iron County that came to us right before the REDTIF modifications came into play, that being Arms Corps. So they came in, the modifications went in July last year. They came to us and went through the board meeting in June, so they barely missed out on the REDTIF, but it's nice to see Iron County having some activity as well. And then the 3 pending one, I can't give specifics yet because they haven't passed through the board, but they're in counties where we've never done an EdTIF project. So we're very excited to see those going to those counties. Over 80 million in CapEx and 7.3 million average CapEx for each of those, for each of the projects, and over 5,700 jobs as well. So lots of jobs going to Utah, lots of CapEx, lots of activity, which we like to see, of course. All right, so talking about some of the changes that we've seen. This happened 2 legislative sessions ago. Of course, the hard work of Representative Albrecht led us to have these changes, and of course, have a drastic increase in the deals that we've done in rural Utah. So traditionally, well, not traditionally, but based on statute, EdTIF, in order to qualify for EdTIF, companies had to create jobs at least 110% of a county's average wage. With these modifications, that number has reduced to 100%. But looking at our numbers, and I probably should have mentioned this in the previous slide, that the average wage in rural Utah for the companies that we've incentivized this fiscal year, we're well over 100%. They're in the 130%. I believe 137 is the, but don't quote me on that. Somewhere in the 130s is the percentage that we've done in rural Utah thus far. So the companies that we've incentivized have gone way above and beyond that 100% average wage. So definitely glad to see that. The tax credit may be up to 50% in third-class counties. And there are a few criteria that has to be met in order to exceed that 30%. That's what we usually go up to. So 500 million in CapEx, 2,000 jobs or more, target industry, average wage of 300% or more. We haven't had any of those quite yet. So we're actually working with one right now that would have that. But we haven't had that quite yet. Now, for counties of the 4th through 6th class, we've got a tax credit of 50%, and that's by statute. So counties that with those population numbers, those companies get automatically 50%. And we've had some of those in Juab County, the two in Juab County, Barnes Bullets, and I just mentioned it, Owens Corning. They got 50%, and that's by statute. We can't go any lower than that. And so we say significant capital investments. Of course, us at the state level, we don't look at CapEx as much as on the local level. We do like to see it though, but jobs for us is more of the driver than CapEx. All right, a couple of legislative changes. So we mentioned HB 35, which was championed by Representative Handy and Senator Winterton. And more modified what we're doing on the Wasatch front. We're being more targeted on the Wasatch front. And so we've got a list of targeted industries, as you see here on the list on the screen. Advanced manufacturing, life sciences, financial services, technology, aerospace and defense are our target industries along the Wasatch front. And so in order for us to incentivize a company, they have to be within one of those target industries. And if they come to us and they're not, and we've had a few that have great projects, cool companies, but unfortunately we're able to incentivize them. Of course, we still want them to come. We still want them to do business here in Utah, but we're not able to incentivize them because of the changes that have happened. We've had to let a few companies down, and it was a little bit difficult sometimes to say no to them, but we had to just because of these changes. However, in rural Utah and in the rural areas, there aren't any requirements when it comes to target industries. We'll take, I don't want to say anything and everything, but we're more open to different industries, something like logistics, which is not on this list. Other types of manufacturing that wouldn't be considered advanced manufacturing, things like that, distribution, things that aren't on this list, which would definitely be a boon to rural Utah, to those communities. We'll definitely accept those and move forward with those. And then a change that has happened, also Talent Ready Utah. I don't know how many of you have worked with Vic and his team over there. They are moving to USHE, the system of higher education. And that change has happened. They've started to head over there. So we're gonna miss those guys. It was great working with them. And of course, we'll continue to work with them. I mean, anytime we're incentivizing a company, there's always the workforce question. Even more important than incentive itself is the workforce are the people. So we're definitely continuing to work with Talent Ready Utah when it comes to the things that we do. All right, let's talk about the application process. So starts with a call or meeting with the company, tell them about the application process, how the incentive works, so on and so forth. We get information from them. How many jobs are you creating? What are your wages and things like that? And so we have that kind of introductory call with the company to go over the process and get information and exchange the information like that. We invite the company to fill out the application. It is an online application. We send out the credentials, they log in, they start working on it. If they have any questions, they're more than able to contact us, email us, call us. We can answer any questions. We can have follow-up meetings or whatnot to get those questions answered. And then, of course, the two big milestones being the census committee and then the full board meeting. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a sec. But in order for them to pass through those meetings, there has to be a letter of support from the municipality or the county, and offering skin in the game, as we call it, which means that there has to be some kind of local incentive being offered by the municipality or the county, whether that's property tax abatements, what have you. But anything offered by the locals is required in the program. Okay, once the application is submitted, here's what we're looking for. So there's a spreadsheet in the application called the FIQ, the Fiscal Impact Questionnaire. That's the projection spreadsheet where they project the number of jobs each year and the wages, the CapEx, the sales tax, the state income tax. So that's where they project that. So that's what we're looking for, fully filled out, having the jobs, having the average wage, having the CapEx on there, having the county you're going in, and things like that. We're looking for 3 years of financials. That includes your balance sheets, your cash flows, and all those accounting sheets that we look for. We've started accepting companies that are younger than 3 years. The governor wants Utah to be known as a startup state. In order to be known as a startup state, we had to adjust what we do on our end in order to accommodate startups. And so we can accommodate companies younger than 3 years if they demonstrate significant fundraising and venture capital. And we also look at the profile of the leadership. If it's a company that's younger than 3 years, but their leadership has been in the industry for dozens and dozens of years, decades, then of course we know that the leadership is well versed in what they're doing. And they've got great backing when it comes to fundraising, VCs and things like that. So we'll accept companies like that and go through the process and everything. The beauty of the EdTIF program is that it's post-performance. So even if a company doesn't succeed, it's nothing against the taxpayers. The taxpayers aren't losing money because it is post-performance. We're looking for a concise company overview and project overview. We need to know what the company does and we need to know what the project is. And then I should have deleted this one, clearly stated competition. Should have deleted that one. We're not focused on competition nearly as much as we were in the past. So delete that one from your minds. For homegrown Utah companies, and that's both Wasatch Front and rural Utah. If you're a homegrown company, you started your company here, you grew your company here, and you want to expand here, we're not going to tell you to go get competition. We're not going to tell you to go to Nevada and Idaho and get incentive offers from there. It doesn't make any sense to us. And so if you're a homegrown business, we want you here. We want you to be here. We want you to grow here. So the competition factor for those type of companies, throwing it out the window, because we want you to grow here, okay? And we've had companies in the past, at least this is what I'm told, we've had a couple of companies in the past where they were homegrown, they wanted to expand here. We told them to go to other states, get offers from the states, which they did, and they ended up going to those states because the offer was better. Doesn't make any sense. We want them to stay here. We want them to grow here. We want them to continue to be Utah companies. And
let me just add a little color to that. So what's really cool is everybody thinks that Utah just goes and recruits out-of-state companies through the EdTIF and RedTIF. If you look at all of our programs, EdTIF and RedTIF and all the projects, 2/3 are actually Utah-based companies. Yeah. So we're taking our current companies and helping them grow instead of just bringing in all these California companies like the narrative often goes. So really cool. And that's just kudos to you guys out in rural Utah for making it happen.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. Across the board, most of the deals that we do are to current Utah companies. It's been like that for years. I don't know where the misconception comes from, and that's across the board, across the country. I've done this in other states. It's the same thing. Most of the deals that are done with local companies, and so we want to see those Utah-based companies grow. For companies coming into the states that we're recruiting, they show competition. We want to show competition with those companies. We want to make sure that they're looking at other states as well. Unless there are a few exceptions to that. They have to come here for specific reasons. There are some, but we still do look at competition for those companies. But homegrown companies, we're reducing that competition factor for those guys. All right, dates and deadlines. So talking about when to submit the application, and then the census committee meeting and the full board meeting. So applications are due the first of every month, or the first week of every month. We if the first falls on a Monday, of course we'll still give you till Friday to get the application, and that's not a big deal. But it is that first week. We've had people ask if they can get it in that second week. They can. I mean, we're not going to reject the application because they got it in, the week after. But we'll try to fit it in for that census committee meeting. But there's no guarantees. If something comes up, there's some issue, we have to go back to the company, and we're just running out of time, then we'll push it to that next month. So no guarantees there, but we'll still accept it and try. It really just depends on how many applications we have that month. For example, for this month, we got a bunch of applications in. So those who got it in late most likely wouldn't be able to get on the agenda for this coming meeting. But in months where we only get one or two in, and someone says, hey, I'll get mine in next week, we can probably work with them, but of course, no guarantees. The census committee meeting. So the census committee is a subcommittee of our full economic development board. And on our website, we've got a link that has all our board members. And so they meet the fourth Thursday of each month. So as I mentioned, applications are due the first of the month, and then the agenda for the meeting is on the fourth the fourth Thursday of that month. 100% virtual, and it is a closed meeting. And we do ask that not only the company have representatives there, but also the local, the municipality or county. If you've got a company who's going through the process, we want you to be as involved as possible, because the census committee will ask about that. We'll ask what kind of support you're getting from the local municipality or county. What are they offering, so on and so forth. So it just makes a lot more sense for that person to be there to answer any of those questions, to answer questions that only you can answer. So we do ask not only the company, but the local representatives be there as well. The full board meeting is the second Thursday of the month. We actually have our next board meeting tomorrow, which we actually have one red TIF going through tomorrow. Can't talk too much about it, but it's a very cool project that we're very excited about. That is a public meeting, so you can log on and check it out at any time. It's a hybrid meeting, so companies can be in person or virtual. Most of the time they're virtual, especially for out-of-state companies. We don't want them to fly in just for a 15-minute meeting. It doesn't make any sense. So it's mostly virtual, but we do have local companies who come once in a while. Same thing as before. We have the company and local representatives there to answer any questions from the board. They won't be in-depth questions. Those questions happen during the census committee meeting, but there are some questions that are asked. And then this is where a company is formally accepted into the ETIF program, and they can start working on their project and whatnot. All right, and then one last time, here's the team. Please, if you have any questions, please give us a call. I don't have my cell number on there. I'm realizing that's my office number. You can email me. My cell number, I don't know my cell number off the top of my head, which is really my fault. But email me, call me. reach out. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. If there are companies where you think it might be kind of a gray area, you're not sure they might go through or not, kick it to us. Let us look at it. Let us see what we can do. You might be surprised. So please be sure to contact us and we can go through that process. All right. Any questions that I can answer right now for you guys?
Sorry to keep talking, Daniel, but just quickly wanted to also throw out that we are getting ready to hire one more outreach manager to join our team. And so we're basing these off of AOG areas so
Okay.
that you have kind of the boots on the ground, somebody who's connected to your AOG from our office as the liaison. They'll work with all the counties and the cities within that area. And then if you ever do have a project, feel free to reach out to that person who can then link you up with Daniel, or we can reach out to Daniel directly. But either way, we're here to serve. And then I just wanted to give Representative Albrecht one more shout out as we talk about the red TIF. This is something that we had talked about for years and years and years. And so when Governor Cox was elected, he made this a priority. Representative Albrecht made it a priority in that first year they made it happen. So it's really exciting and just really appreciate his leadership on this.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I'd like to echo that as well. Any questions from you guys? There's a lot of information at once.
Abby went ahead and put Dan's cell phone number in the chat if you guys want to take a quick look and write that down.
And I must admit as well, I recently lost my cell phone over the weekend, and I've been tearing up my house. I'm 80% sure it's somewhere in the house, but can't find it right now. So in the meantime, go ahead and send me an email until I find that cell phone. I don't know what happened to it, but I'm sure I'll find it.
I have a question again.
Sure.
This is Representative Watkins. James, you gave us a website, and I'm not always on the websites and just doing other things, but would you give that again, so that we can go in and view this again?
Sure. It will be posted within a couple of days, and it'll be at business.utah.gov/rural. And so you'll find centers, look for Center for Rural Development, and in that area, then you'll find the correct link.
And we can send out a link too.
Yeah, we will do that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We'll do this follow-up for you. Yeah. Any other questions? We thank you all for your attendance. Please, if you come up with any other questions, please send us emails. We will be happy to address them. There was a lot of information in this webinar, we understand, but we're always ready to field any questions you might have. Thank you again for your attendance. We hope that you have a great day.